Thank you for joining me, and today is a very special card making session, and we are going to be using the symbols of fortune. My name is Tina Kavergic, and I am Northern Stamper. You can reach me at any time at northernstamper@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you're going to enjoy this card. I have posted all of the card pieces that you need for the collection, and I will be going through that. But what I wanted to show you today is wanted to show you the Symbols of Fortune Designer Series paper. They do come as 12 by 12 in the mini catalog on page number 23. This is actually a full suite you can get. There is coordinating ribbon and mother of pearl paper and some embellishments. They all look totally fantastic. What a great stamp set. There comes with this that you can get, and the dies. Beautiful designer series paper, which we will be using, and the colors that are in this designer series paper are Calypso Coral, Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, Crumb Cake, Smoky Slate, and Gold Highlights. You can use these little color pieces down here to give you an idea of what inks to use or what papers to coordinate with. So let's get looking at some of the paper. I know when you look at the catalog you really can't see it, but I have to show you. They are absolutely beautiful. I love the colors, these beautiful little, this one is one of my favorite, the ones with the little butterflies in it. And it is really pretty. And then they got some with the gold highlights. It just really stands out. I'm going to be using this one where I'm going to be cutting out some of the crane, and the designer series papers are printed on both sides so that you can use them quite a bit. So they are really fantastic. They are absolutely beautiful. I'm telling you, they are much prettier in person, or I guess in paper, than they are in the catalog. So you don't want to miss these. These will turn out to be great additions to your cards that you're making. If you do need some cardstock or card papers, I do offer 6x6 packages, which these are. These are cut down by 6x6, and I have cut a piece from the 9 designer series packs that are in the catalog, and so you'll get a package of each sheet, one of each side, for $50. Let me know. Drop me an email at northernstamper@gmail.com. Normally, when you buy the full packs 12 by 12, it's going to cost you quite a bit more. But buying as a paper share is actually a lot more inexpensive, and you won't have so much paper left over that you won't know what to do with. So this is, as I said, the Symbols of Fortune. And we are going to be using this for this card. I hope you're ready. What you're going to have to do is have pre-cut out all of your selection. I'm going to be using these 4. If you don't want, you could always flip it over and use the other side. I like to, as I create my card, I do have an idea of what I start with, and then sometimes I'll flip it over to glue it, and the other side strikes my fancy a little bit more. But I'm going to be using these 4, and the dimensions are already listed previously for you to cut these out. So you need 4 of the designer series papers cut, a little 2x2 pieces of white cardstock, and another piece of basic white cardstock that is the same size, so we need a total of 5 altogether there. And this is the gold foil that you're going to have to have also. The reason that I picked the gold foil is because it really picks up the accent in the gold in the paper. So you're going to need to cut 5 of this gold foil for this project. And the last piece that we need is a piece of 11 by 5.5 This is a basic gray. You can use smoky slate. You can use whatever color you want. Black will work just as well. So you need to have a piece like this, and this is what we're going to start with. So let's get those other pieces set aside so that we don't lose them. I'm just going to put them up here, and let's start with this piece right here. What we're going to do now is we are going to need our trimmer, and we are going to do some scoring, and we are going to score at 2 3/4 and again at 5 1/2, and we're actually going to do that twice, and I'm going to walk through that with you. So let's get our trimmer, and we are going to score. Make sure you're using your scoring blade and not your cutting blade. So we're going to score at 2 3/4. So I'm going to score it, and I'm going to move it down to 5 1/2, and I'm going to score it again. Now, I could keep going over with the lengthening the ruler, but what I'm going to do is the exact same measurements. I'm going to take it out, flip it over, refeed it back in, and go to 2 3/4, score, and then go to 5 1/2, and score again. Okay, and what I'm going to do, that middle one at 5 1/2 should have scored right on the same one we have done before. So what we're going to do is we are going to make an accordion going back and forth. Okay, so if we fold that up like an accordion, it's going to be all nice and even all the way around on all the sides. Okay, so give that a try and make sure that it's accordion folding all the way through. There's our accordion folding all the way through. So let's bring back in all of our pieces, and let's get some gluing going on here. So I have my 5 pieces of gold. I'm going to place them off to the side. There is my white. Don't want to lose that. I'm going to put that up there. And I have my 4 pieces of designer series paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roughly figure out which one I want on the front. Now remember, there was a piece of designer series paper, and what I wanted to do is actually, I'm not going to use this one, but I want to cut the crane out, and I'm going to place him on the front. So if I had the crane, I need to figure out which one piece of designer series paper I want on the front. So I might go something like designer series paper. That might work. I'm going to shuffle them around. I might just start with the gold one and maybe have the gold bird on the front, and move it around. Okay, so the reason that I could do that. Now I'm using 3, but what's going to happen, if you want, you can fold the first piece over and put that one on the front there. Okay, so maybe I'll have the bird on there, maybe on this one, I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is actually have this one on the front, and then, see, when you turn over the DSP, it has that actually really pretty. So, and maybe I'll put the gold in the middle, and just kind of move them around so that they are to your liking. So I think I'm going to have it like that. I kind of like that, and on the front I'm going to have that other one. Now you notice that there's no mat around that. It is because these gold pieces will be matted with the designer series paper. I wanted to kind of work through to see which pattern I wanted, which I liked the best. Once you have figured that out, I'm going to take this front piece, and I'm actually going to now put it on a piece of gold foil. Okay, and I have a nice rim all the way around. So I know that this is my first piece. I'm going to put that up there. This was my second piece. Let's move these around, and let's place that on a piece of gold. Okay, see, when you turn it over, you kind of get a different view, and you might choose something a little different. So I'm going to just pop that on there. So that's 1, 2, this will be my third one. Add some glue, and I'm going to do that for all 4. Now you're going to wonder, why 4? I have 5 pieces of gold foil. Well, the last one goes with the basic white. And before I place that down, I might want to do a little stamping around the edges. It's up to you. So I just wanted to let you know. So I now have these mounted. Let's take a look at this last one. If you want to stamp, this is the time to stamp before you place it on, adhere it to the gold foil. So I don't have the stamp set, but I might place a couple of other images around that I have from other stamp set, or maybe a sentiment. And this is where you can actually write your message if you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some ink that will match this, and I'm going to do a little bit around the edges from a different stamp set, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The ink colors I'm going to use is actually the Smoky Slate. It is the same color as the Designer Series paper, so I want to pick up on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring out a completely different stamp set. It's called On the Horizon, and I'm going to stamp on both sides. One, I want to try this little reed type thing. I think it looks kind of, it might match really well with that. And then around the edges, in Oceanfront, there is a little bit of this kind of sand speckle, and I want to place that around the outside. Okay, so what I want to do first is I'm going to get the stamp from On the Horizon, which is that kind of little, I guess, grassy feel. And I'm going to place it on a block. And I'm also going to bring in another color, Memento Black. So I want to pick up some of the black that is in the Designer Series paper, and I am going to use that with these grasses. So I'm going to stamp and place it on the ink pad, and just kind of on the bottom. I want to place it on the bottom so it gives a little bit of that feel on the bottom. Since I have the Memento Black out, I want to use a sentiment, and On the Horizon it just has this little word that says breathe. And I think that's kind of good to go with this card. So let's add that. I'm going to place that on there. And I'm going to use the Memento Black, and I'm just going to place that right in the middle. Okay. Get that out of the way. Now from the Oceanfront, as I mentioned, I want to pick up this little piece of sand. Though it looks like sand, when I use it on the edging, it will look a little bit different. So let's get that out. You need to look at your stamp sets because many of them can be cross with another one and be used, and it looks really, really interesting. You've got to think outside the box. Just because you have one stamp set doesn't mean that you have to stay with that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp off first because I wanted to see how dark it is. And all I'm going to do is just go around the edge and lightly add some of that sand to give a nice little kind of design. Now if you don't want that design, or you have different stamps, go right ahead and use whatever you like, because this is your card and nothing is wrong. It is perfect the way that you do it. So I'm just adding this in just lightly for the gray. You can barely see it, but it looks fantastic all around that edge. Okay, so you can see it very lightly. Okay, so that's what I have. Now that I have this all inked up, now I can glue it onto the gold foil, and that's what I want to do. Okay, gonna add that on, and this is actually going to be the last page that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now glue these on to the card base, but I'm going to be very careful. I want to leave enough space so that I can punch out the little legs for this screen. So I'm going to have a little edge up on the top, and I center it left and right. So I'm going to add some glue on that. Make sure it's well taped. And I'm going to leave, like I said, I'll leave a little space on the top and equal space left and right. Now you're going to do that all the way across. Okay, that one was our first one. Remember which one you have on the beginning. And I'm going to work my way back, and I'm going to have them even on the top, okay, as I go across. Okay. As we go across, I'm going to make sure it's nice and even from the top, not crooked. Okay. This is going to turn out really fantastic. I love this kind of card. Looks very cool with this this type of paper. I'm just going to flip over the left side, and this is going to be my front. Same thing. I can see, okay, kind of goes up along there. Okay, so now I have them all placed on there. And what happens, I'm going to fold this up. There we go. And it's on the back. There we go, just like that. Now, I need to cut the little legs out. So I have a punch, kind of any punch that you have, but I'm going to be using this one because as I punch it out, it's going to give me a really cool scalloped edge. Now, you're going to have to punch this one page at a time. Be careful that you don't go too high and punch into the designer series paper or the gold. So I want to try and be in the middle as much as I can. I'd rather measure twice than punch. Okay, and I can see there's a little lip right there. I want to be even on both sides. So just take your time. I'm going to fit it in there, and I'm going to punch. And I'm going to do that exactly all the way across. So I'm going to fold this over so I got something to follow, like a little template. So I can see it there. And I'm going to hold these two together. And there we go. I'm going to unfold one again, fold it up so I can see. Now I want to punch so that I can, really I'm only punching through one cardstock, but it sits on two. So again, line it up. There we go. And just carefully take your time. There is no rush. And just line it up. And that's how we're going to do that. Now it's popped out all these pieces. And now I have my frame all done. And I'm going to fold that up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a little bit of design for the front. What I've decided to do for the design on the front is I'm going to cut out one of these little cranes. Now I know he's kind of in the middle, but I will do my best to make sure that I can try and reuse as much as the paper I can. So I'm just going to kind of go up. I'm going to cut him out quickly, and then I'm going to totally fussy cut him out. So let's get him going. Now I'm also trying to avoid any of the images. I don't want to cut them because maybe there's something in there that I can use for something else. So there we go. Now I've got him cut out, and it's going to be much easier to now fussy cut him out. And I'm going to try and go as close, but still leave a little edge all around the fussy cutting. This way it kind of gives a little bit of an edge around, and it's very nice looking to have a little bit hanging over. So instead of cutting right up into the image, you leave a little space. Okay, so we all know that when you're using your snips, make sure that you're driving the paper and not the scissors with the cutting. Okay, So that makes it much easier. And be careful that you don't cut your fingers. These are very sharp at the very ends, or all the way through, and you just don't want to cut yourself. Okay, depending on how good you can fussy cut, if you can get into the wings, go right ahead. I'm just going to go all the way around. Okay. So now that I have him cut out, I'm going to take him back to the front, and because I see he kind of gets lost in there, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring in some paper. Now, I could either bring in a full piece or just have it like that he stands out, and maybe y'all can do some of that little dots with the other one. But I think I'm going to cut an extra piece. Everybody is a little different. Another option is doing a circle behind him. It's up to you on what you want to do. I'm going to show you a couple of ideas that I have, and then you can make a choice of what you would like to do. All right, what I've decided to do is I've done some die cutting with the Encircled with Beauty, and I used the gold foil. I also did another one with the scalloped edge. I wanted to show you the difference. So if I use the scalloped edge with a circle, make sure I got the right circle that goes with it, I can see it picks up the gold from the frame and a little bit from the branches. And if I take my crane, I can place it on top. And I think that looks really nice. I could also add a little bit of that gray to the white piece, and that would be fantastic. And I can even put a little sentiment on the front if I want. Now, what I did is I die cut out one of the circles from Encircled in Beauty. Now, I wanted to show you when you place this on, it's going to be slightly larger along the left and right. And I've got a smaller circle, but I think this works really well. I like how the design comes up. And I'm going to place the crane on top. So whichever one you feel that you wish to use, go right ahead. Like I said, if you wanted to do like a square and do the frame with the gold, that's up to you. I really like how the Encircled in Beauty kind of gives that really super beautiful design to this card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these down, and actually with the crane I'm going to use dimensionals and pop him up on the card. So let's get started with that. Now I'm going to use some of the dimensionals, and I'm just going to place them on this guy. I want to make sure I have enough. Then I put them around. But I'm not going to put it too much on his legs, because that is the portion that's actually going to be hanging down below the circle. So let's get sure we have enough on the bird itself. These are, everything's sticking. And let's pop him up and just kind of mount him on the front there. I think that looks really nice. And there we go. Our card is complete. Here we go. If you want, add some more designs on the inside or just leave it the way it is. You can always add some beautiful ribbon, but I want to make it as simple as possible. And I think just the crane on the front with the gold is enough to make it stand out. Okay. There we go. We stand it up like that. And that is going to be a super card for anybody to receive. Okay. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you've done this card or what your card turns out like. And if you like this design, or should I have gone with the little scalloped edges? I don't know. Can never go wrong. Cards are always perfect. Thanks again for joining me. I wanted to give you a little special treat for being in the VIP group. Thank you very much, and have a great day.